All right, this week I am here at Baynes and Baker. I'm here at their clubhouse. I'm here with Ravi, I'm here with Orville, and let me tell you a little bit about Baynes and Baker. Baynes and Baker is a premier suit design a suit supply company, a custom lifestyle enhancer. Is that you like that little intro right there?
I like that.
I like that, lifestyle
That's a
enhancer.
fair
Because having a
assessment.
custom suit, that is something that a lot of people think is super expensive. I know a lot of people think that custom suits, oh, he wears custom suits, I can't afford that. And they don't understand that there's really a range of where you could be. So to piggyback on that, tell me about what you guys are up to now.
So, I mean, we're a completely bespoke suit company. What that means is we take somebody's measurements using technology. So we've got our own app. We'll take a full scan of somebody's body and create a suit based on that. So there's made to measure and bespoke. If you're
This
not,
is so much more advanced than how I just explained it.
and a lot of people don't know the difference. Like bespoke generally is old school, old tailor, like old world. You never got into that room if you didn't have $5,000 to $6,000 to spend on a starting, it's like a beginner suit, just because of the time that goes into it. So with technology, we've kind of been able to access that at a reduced price, but offer sort of the same service. So where we're really trying to fit in is like offer lifestyle enhancement in custom suits, but to do it in a way where everybody can afford it and afford to look like they're wearing a $6,000-$7,000 suit.
Amazing. And what's the lowest cost of entry?
We think we start somewhere around $7.99.
Okay, for a
Yeah.
full suit.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And with you guys, if you get a suit, do you give a discount on a custom shirt or anything like that, or throw in a shirt? How much are your shirts?
So shirts generally also completely bespoke. They start at $199 and they go up to about $299. We'll do packages for people when they come in. So I mean,
Yeah.
the goal is to like a shirt is almost like an afterthought for everybody in the suit, but a shirt can make or break the look.
Absolutely.
You can have the
100%.
best fitting suit, but if you're like if the neck's off or the collar's wrong, it'll literally throw off the whole look. So we like to put people in the complete package, which is the suit, the shirt, and eventually like the full tie and accessory
I love it. And the first custom suit I ever had was for a buddy of mine, Matt Ampolsky, for his wedding. All the groomsmen, we all got custom tuxedos. Not just custom tuxes, we got custom shirts, cufflinks, the whole shebang. And having that custom button down, that custom tuxedo shirt with the custom tux was A++.
It just elevates the look, right?
Beyond.
Yeah.
Beyond. And not
Yeah.
just elevates the look, it's a custom fit. So it's literally hugging your body perfectly. Every roll, every non-roll, every time you slouch, it like sits perfectly because it was made for you. And I love that.
And I mean, from a wedding, it brings everybody together. Like generally, the bride and the bridesmaid, I always like have all this stuff planned. Like, hey, we're gonna go dress shopping. We're gonna have champagne while we do all these things. It's like what we want to do is bring the groom side together. So it's like the groomsmen and the groom. Everybody, we've got sort of the speakeasy in the back. So it's like you come in, you have cocktails, you hang out, you get measured. You have that component, and then the day of the wedding, everybody just solidifies sort of the whole look. If everybody's,
Tell me about the partnership with J Bespoke. So for those who can't see, because, well, one, you might be listening to it on Spotify or Apple, or you're just looking at what's in frame. Right now we are in their clubhouse, which is attached to J Bespoke, which is a cocktail lounge, a speakeasy cocktail lounge in Flatiron, New York City. How did that partnership come to be, and how do you feel that that's a perfect fit?
So it kind of all happened really quickly. I mean, we were looking at a spot, sort of Midtown East, like 59th Street. And what we were going to do is we were going to have the same concept, suits around the front, and it wasn't necessarily going to be a bar. We were talking to like omakase companies and maybe a sushi experience. The goal was, coming out of COVID, we had retail stores before this. But coming out of COVID, how do you get people into the store again when everybody's just so used to add to cart, open a package, send the package back? And one of the things that we really wanted to nail down was an experience. So you come in, yes, the suit is the fundamental piece, but where do you go where you can actually hang out, enjoy, have a cocktail? So it came about where we actually met Jay Bespoke, the two brothers, Jesse and Eric, who run the bar. We were talking to them about being operators on our space on 59th Street.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we had this vision. We got along, and I was like, these are the perfect guys that have the experience to kind of do what we don't know, which is food and beverage and running a bar. And while we were negotiating that, this opportunity came about. So Jesse called me, and he was like, I know we want to do it there, which is a great idea.
He's like, Ravi, are you sitting down?
Yeah, and he's like, we got the coffee shop that was in the front is no longer going to be there. And I was like, perfect.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here in your current clubhouse, where did it all begin? Where did you guys know that you wanted to be in the suit game?
Wow.
Well, let's start.
Loaded question. That kind of happened years and years ago, just based on, a little backstory. Ravi and I both come from a real estate space, and we've done some transactions together, in that space. He was actually a developer, and I was selling real estate as well as doing land acquisition. And so that's basically how we met.
So this was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was 2015.
Yeah.
7
Maybe
or 8
like,
years ago.
like 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, he was like, we were both always dressed pretty sharp when we got together. And he gave me a call, and he's like, you know what, I think we're gonna go into the suit game. What do you think of, coming on board? And I was like, makes sense to me. And yeah, we jumped in together.
Well, how was that? Because in real estate, the checks are a lot larger.
Right.
So changing industries to something where, I'm not going to say it's a different grind. It's not more of a grind or less of a grind.
Right.
It's a different grind. And it's more transactional.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to more people than you are in real estate,
mm-hmm.
but you're really touching them and you're changing people in a different way.
Right.
How important is that to you guys?
It's super important. Yeah. One of the things that we looked at in moving into this space is the long-term vision, right? So, which I think is super important, obviously, when you're getting into, the business that we're in, right? Yeah. And Ravi can probably elaborate a little bit more on that too, right?
So I guess tell me, when did you really know that suits, not just suits, that bespoke suits was an industry that you were supposed to be in?
I mean, the way we got in, like the way the company started.
That's what I want to hear.
So my background.
We want to hear, not me, we want to hear the origin story. Don't hold back.
I'll tell you exactly how it is. So I've been in real estate my whole life. When I was 15 or 16 years old, I always knew I wanted to be a developer. Like that was my game plan. I did everything to get there. So coming out of college, I went to school for real estate. I came out of college, I was working with developers, helping them find investors, started building single family homes, started doing multifamily, and then literally land acquisitions, permitting, all of it, like full scale development, big projects. And I had a project that I had put together where I was buying 4 pieces of land. We were going to build 36 units in Vancouver. And one of the investors that I had pegged to kind of join the development was an investor based out of China, but lived in Vancouver. So I reached out to him. We had done deals before, and I was like, look, I got this deal coming up. I need you to lock in with me. And he's like, tell you the truth. He's like, I'm not coming to Vancouver. I'm not scheduled to be there for the next 6 months to a year. If you really want me to look at the deal, why don't you fly here? And I was at a point where I was like, look, I've never been to Shanghai or China. Like I've never just totally walked into something I didn't know what I was getting into, to be honest.
You're how old at this point? 27?
No, I was like, yeah, maybe 26.
Okay.
And so my fashion experience before that, which is kind of weird, as I was raising money, I was always bringing in custom suit companies to like investor meetings that I didn't take anything from them. It was just something that I was always in. And my business partner was buying custom suits. He was a little bit older. He was buying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 custom suits. I'm shopping at Zara. I'm buying my suit for $250 with the jacket but I'm looking good because it's like a style thing at that point. It's like if it fits well and it dresses well, like Zara just won't last that long, but the style is still on point.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to China. I took all my Zara suits at the time, and I remember landing at the Hilton in Shanghai, and I remember it so clearly where the first day it's like 9 o'clock and hey, I'm in Shanghai. I'm here to meet you. Let's go get this real estate deal done. And the response was like, no, we don't meet during the day. I'll meet you for dinner and drinks and we'll talk about it later. So I learned really quickly the way you do business in Asia is you go to dinner, you have drinks, you party, and you talk about the deal at 3 a.m. And so 2 or 3 days of this in the daytime, we're doing like sightseeing, and then at nighttime you're buckling up to, what you're getting into. So like the third or fourth day, I can't remember, I go down to the lobby and I was like I'm losing my mind, man. I don't know what to do during the day. Like there's nothing for me to do. The time zone doesn't make sense in Vancouver, so there's nobody I could really work with. And he's like, a lot of local people just go and get suits made. There's a tailor there, and they're pros on getting it to you quick before you go back. So I fell in love with the process. Like I said, I was priced out back home. I didn't have $2-3 for a suit. So I'm there and I'm literally lapel, fabric, lining, get 1. The next day I get 4. The next day, like I was there for I think 9 or 10 days. I came back with 50.
How much did you spend on 50 suits?
Back then I probably spent I would say collectively probably anywhere between $5-10 maybe.
That's it?
Could be more. I don't know the exact number, but definitely.
It's so crazy.
I was I don't know when I'm coming
That's
back.
still a lot of suits. How did you get 50 suits back home?
I remember being at the airport and just taping boxes, and they're like, you can't take that. I was like, there's no shot. I'm not taking these. I was like, I'll ship them or whatever. But I brought them back, and then I was just wearing those suits that I created. And the way I was dressing was obviously attracting compliments and people talking about the suits, where it got to a point where it's like, hey, you should start a suit company.
When you bought these suits, these 50 suits in China, were you putting any branding inside, your initials? How does that work?
So they, shirts had the initials on the cuffs. That's something that we did, but at that there was no brand. That was just me getting suits for myself.
Right, but
they don't have branding. No,
they don't have branding.
No.
And they didn't put anything in the suit for you, like your initials.
No, we just had funky line RP.
RP, so no RP in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So you come back. Now you're wearing a suit every day.
I was always wearing a suit every day, but now I'm wearing
custom
wide peak lapels.
Yeah.
I'm wearing suits with different lapel stitching, the lining, crazy stuff I'm doing. So I went to the candy store and bought all the candy basically. And enough of that where you if you're wearing a suit, I tell guys all the time, especially coming out of COVID, I hate the fact that everybody got comfortable, because as a guy, if you wear a suit and you walk down the street, whether you get it from us or anywhere, I could care less. Even if you wore a Zara suit, if you're put together and you just watch the reactions of people watching a guy in a suit walk down the street, take their coffee from the barista, just do everyday things, everybody looks at you twice. You talk different, you walk different. It's like the cape for a man is a well-fitted suit.
I feel your energy right now, just talking about that, because it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Anytime I wear a suit, I feel it.
Yeah.
I probably have almost a dozen suits. And meanwhile, I'm more of I'm a hoodie guy more frequently. But I should wear suits more because you feel it. It's more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I could incorporate, a light hoodie with the suit into my repertoire. But having the suit on every day, it turns eyes, especially when you have a nice suit. More so when you have a nice suit.
And again, like I said, it's not just as a man, it's not just women, it's other men. Everybody's like, who's this guy wearing a suit? What are you like? But it's because it changes your posture. It's it literally does something to you as soon as you put on.
Exudes confidence.
Yeah.
Exudes confidence for sure.
So he comes back from China with 50 suits, and now he is exuding confidence because now he doesn't have these Zara suits. He's got these custom suits. Where were you when all this was going on?
Toronto,
yeah. So Orville and I started working together probably 2012. We were talking on the phone probably every couple of days when he was in Vancouver. And then even when he moved to Toronto, we stayed in touch.
Yeah.
Are you Canadian?
Yeah.
Got it. Whereabouts?
Vancouver.
Gotcha. West Coast guy. And you're originally from?
Vancouver.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how we connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2017, the suit companies getting busier, and I knew Orville was in Toronto, and I just knew the way we worked together based on the real estate deals we did. And it was two hustlers. I never questioned the hustle component because, like I said, I knew how we worked together. And I was like, Orville, we got this thing. It's nothing to do with real estate. But being in the real estate world too, I will say, if you walk into an event or tell anybody you're in real estate development, New York's probably different, but nobody cares. It's oh, you must be in. It's just nothing that will lead on to hours of conversation unless you're doing something really cool. Maybe New York real estate's different, but as soon as I started telling people, hey, I have a custom suit company. We work with athletes. We're in fashion. You get everybody's ears. So I was telling Orville, I'm like, it's actually a great networking tool too.
Yeah.
Where you're in the room.
100%.
Yeah.
How'd you guys land Nate Burleson?
That's a story that I thought we would have a different version of, but I heard Nate say it on an interview just like it was. So Nate lived in Seattle. I was in Vancouver. Nate, so if you live in Seattle, you travel to Vancouver to party. And
is there more than one story?
It's that's the story. And then so if you live in Vancouver, you party in Seattle. Seattle, you party in Vancouver. It's just a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So the Drake concert happened, and I remember going there. So we go to the concert, we go to the after party. I'm definitely not sober, and Nate's definitely not sober. I run into him at the club at the after party, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? We make custom suits. We should get you in a custom suit." He said something along the lines like, "I'm going to be in New York. I'm starting a new show, Good Morning Football. If you're ever in New York, maybe I'll think about it."
GMFP.
And at the time, I'm dating my now wife, who I was already doing long distance with. So I was like, "Look, I'm actually going to be in New York. When I'm there, I'll hit you up." And then we just connected. We made a few looks, and he set himself apart, just the way he dressed and obviously the way he carried
Absolutely.
himself. And me and him just jive.
I love that.
On the style
Yeah,
component.
Nate's unique. Nate's as unique as it gets.
Yeah.
Great energy.
I love that.
Got
So
the
you
best energy.
came to New York and you guys connected, and then what was the first look like for Nate?
I think we made a red suit. I remember he's like, "I really just want a red suit around Christmas time." And we made a red suit, and it was I don't know if that was probably 2016, so there was definitely no TikTok or anything like that. It was just Instagram pictures, and I think it had some buzz. And he's like, "Hey, you knocked it out of the park with this one." We start working together, and then we became sort of his exclusive suit provider.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And what sort of buzz has come from him now being on your website, being on your social, and kind of pushing the brand forward?
So we started off making suits for him. He's a partner now in the brand, and he's sort of the creative director. A lot of the
very cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the looks that so we work in the sports space a lot, and athletes, and a lot of the looks that we came up with right before COVID, like the jogger suit, where it's like, hey, you know what, guys in the league want to wear suits, but they also want to wear their sneakers. So we started cuffing the bottom so you could wear sneakers and a white tee. The spacesuit was also his idea. So he brought a vision and an energy of stuff that I wouldn't know being on the road, traveling all the time, going to games. So when we did those looks and then COVID happened, it kind of just accelerated us more so than kind of brought us back, because we were on that right before.
I love it. That's the whole purpose of the invention of the jogger.
Yeah.
So you can notice the kicks.
Yeah, and you put on a white tee, and it's perfect, because it's I still want to look good, but some guys just don't want to wear a dress shirt. And it's I don't want to wear a tie, but I love wearing suits. So
I love it. And what has the last 2.5 years looked like since coming out of COVID for you guys? A couple deep breaths. Growth.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in this space for about 6 months now.
Yeah.
You're happy in the space,
Yeah.
I'm saying.
for sure, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what's the traffic like coming into the space? What does an appointment look like for you guys?
Well, I think that the brick and mortar piece is really important.
Do you think it's also important, and sorry to cut you off, do you think it's
okay.
important having a brick and mortar in New York versus Toronto versus Vancouver?
I feel yeah. I feel like it's important, and more so here that it kind of lends to the credibility of what we do, and I think it just takes what we're currently doing to the next level, right? And especially when it comes to we still do a lot of trunk shows and whatnot, and in those trunk shows, one of the first questions customers ask is where are you guys located, and being able to have inform them of our location and whatnot, I think it helps lend credibility and validity to what we're doing.
And do you guys do more trunk shows where they're coming in here, or you're going to them?
A little bit of both, but
what do you prefer?
Mostly going. When you say going to them,
Yeah.
trunk show. When I'm referring to a trunk show, like trunk trade show.
Yeah.
So one of the spaces that that drive our business is wedding shows, and so when we attend those shows, they're always asking, where are we at? Then we bring, as Ravi mentioned earlier, we bring the wedding party together. We bring them in here for a fitting session and whatnot, get them fitted, and we take them into J Bespoke, sit down, have cocktails with them, and get to learn them even more, right? And then that relationship grows, right?
And that's the most important part.
Yeah.
When you're actually able to touch them and
Yeah.
like converse with them,
Yeah.
human to human, and
Yeah.
really vet what they're actually looking for, so you can make the perfect suit for them, and then they become a client for the future. I mean, I know I had a bespoke tailor who I was working with who made a suit for me, and then I needed a jacket. So who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to my guy. If I'm going to refer to someone, I go to my guy. This is now a few years ago.
Right.
I'm excited to now refer you guys out to people. What is the next, I don't want to say year, what does the next 3 to 6 months look like for you guys?
So I think we've kind of got our groove in this space. Over the last year, we've taken a huge leap where now we're working with NFL teams directly, which before we were working with specific players on each team. Now we've got a real partnership with the Seahawks. We've got a real partnership with the NFL on the alumni side. Washington Commanders, University of Texas. We just did the whole football team all season.
I think you guys should be making the gold jackets.
I mean, that's the goal. Like
Yeah.
Hall of Fame brought to you by Baynes and Baker.
And then we got the Super Bowl coming up, which is big for us because
Yeah.
I think it's every 3 or 4 years CBS gets it. So Nate will be on the Nickelodeon broadcast. He'll be on the main broadcast. So that'll be like a week of full. And it's cool because coming out of COVID, the one thing that kind of just got shot by the wayside was suits. Like it was like, hey, I don't have to dress up anymore. It was like the first thing to go.
Absolutely. I saw it firsthand. People went from suits every day to sweatpants every day.
Mhm.
And then coming out of COVID, they're not going back to suits most not going back to suits every day.
It's an interesting story. So met with a client probably just a couple weeks ago, and that's one of the topics that came up. We talked about COVID and coming out of COVID and the relaxed nature of the individuals coming out of COVID. And the one thing that he said to me was, he said, I'm not okay with any of my team, coming to work in pajamas and t-shirts. He said, if you're working with me, you're putting on a suit, because as we talked about the cape, that's what it is, right?
Yep.
It exudes confidence, not to mention when you're sitting across from somebody that, you're doing business with, transactional or otherwise, you have to be able to present properly. And so he's like, yeah, it's not going to happen for us. Everybody has to come back to work in suits. Yeah.
It's definitely tricky.
Yeah.
I'm feeling inspired. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm thinking the amount of suits I own and how much I don't wear them enough. But then I'll tell myself, like, all right, any specific reason, like if I have a closing, I'll wear a suit. If I have a big showing, I'll wear a suit.
Right.
Versus always wearing a suit.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you don't know who you're going to meet when you're grabbing that cup of coffee. You don't know who you're going to meet when you're doing really anything.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's the confidence that you exude
Yeah.
when wearing the suit.
Yeah, and we're cognizant of sort of how styles evolve. Like the sneaker culture has kind of become very mainstream. So, like, you wear the hoodie with the jogger suit,
Exactly what you were talking
and
about.
it's like
yeah.
elevated fashion. You wear a bomber with a hoodie and jeans. Like, we're still very cognizant that, hey, outside of New York, Chicago, major financial hubs, most people probably don't have to wear a suit to work anymore. Are we trying to revolutionize the world and get everybody? No, it's like, how do we adapt within those lanes and still bring like elevated fashion? Would it be great if everybody wore suits again? 100%. Is that likely outside of big events? I don't know. But if we can drive confidence with this like mental health, like everything that's going on, I think one of the main things is always confidence.
What do you think?
Self-esteem,
What do you think's
confidence.
more important? Going to the gym or wearing a great suit?
Both.
I would say, but yeah, they're both. Like if you look good, you feel good.
There you go.
You feel good, you dress good,
Yeah.
you look good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the gym.
You just
Gotta
smile.
train.
So, what are you guys reading right now?
you honestly, this very moment, I actually, I'm right in the middle of Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Emotional
Intelligence 2.0.
2.0
Yeah.
by.
You got me.
What's it? I when I'm reading a book, I could barely remember.
I
the
can
name.
remember-
I can remember the name of the book.
Remember the name. Look it up. It's actually a really solid read. I feel like everybody should read it. It's not a paperback, maybe 150 pages.
Amazing.
Very important information. Yeah, for all of us. Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
I just finished reading a book called The Checklist Manifesto, and it just basically breaks down. It's like a business book, but how you just simplify processes, and it gives you real life sort of where even if a heart surgeon is performing surgery, this process is so simple, and it's like if you can do that in your business, that's how you scale. Where it's showing you that the people that execute at the highest level have a system that they follow, which is very vanilla. It's not that complicated. So I love reading that book, and as soon as I read it, I was like, how do we start doing all that?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Like I'm more of a business self-help, but I just finished 2 fiction books in a row.
Right.
So like I'm kind of now in like the fiction game where like I want to like keep that going. So I started a 3rd fiction book, but I'll do that on Audible, and then I'll read something on paperback. So what is one book that you would recommend to anybody?
Wow. James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Hell yeah.
There's 2 books that I think I've read several times. Start With Why, Simon Sinek, and then Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And like, I just love reading those kinds of books because I get so excited to like implement these things. But like Shoe Dog, I think I've read 3 times over. Like at least once a year, I'll try to read that. And then Start With Why, I got introduced to that through the TED Talk, and then I read the book, and it's like I said, it's just simplifying things that we think are very complicated.
I've done Shoe Dog. I've read Start With Why.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits.
I know you read James
I've read
Clear.
Atomic. It's been a while.
Yeah.
All great stuff. Now, before I let you guys go, give me one word of advice for anyone trying to make it.
One word or like?
Give me one word of advice for anyone trying to make it.
I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, it's like you just can't quit. You keep it moving. It's inevitable. Like you create luck.
Focused. Stay focused. Lock in.
God bless. Fellas,
Thank you.
thank you. That was great.
Yeah.